This week on TGC News, a 4570 Takedown rifle, a premium AR pistol from SIG, a new 3D printed suppressor, and an update on the Lego Glock. If you need gun accessories, check out FAB Defense. They have all kinds of parts for the AR platforms, like pistol grips, butt stocks, foregrips, and more. I'm really enjoying this sort of mid-range setup on my digital camo AR with the wrap stock, gratis grip, and spike bipod. There's also flip-up sights and parts for your AK or even your pistol. From long-range setups to compact AR pistols and everything in between. FAB Defense has something for everyone. To learn more, check out fab-defense.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective News, the only gun news show that covers things you actually care about. My name is Jon Patton. If you're new here, consider getting subscribed to stay up to date on new stuff in the gun industry. We got new guns, we got gun accessories. We got it all right here. Also, I am wearing my own quote on my shirt. It would be a lot less awkward if you went to the description and got it and wore it yourself. Now, how about some news? Let's start this week off with a bit of a classic. It's from a company called Taylor & Company, and the gun is called the TC86 Takedown. Taylor's main thing is sort of cowboy-style guns, whether it's cartridges or black powder. They're sort of a premium brand in that space, and this one is no different in that way. And at the same time, it's got some modern stuff going on as well. It's chambered in 4570, comes with a 16.5-inch barrel, which has been threaded, presumably for a suppressor. It has a scout rail along with a rear peep sight and a fiber optic front. It also has a large loop lever, which I think they all should have at this point. Beyond that, it's got some more classic looking features like a walnut furniture set and the beautiful case-colored receiver. It's gorgeous. Maybe that's because it reminds me a little bit of my own 500 Magnum lever action. That's also beautiful. With the exception of the fact that this is a Taylor's gun, if you didn't guess by the name, it's a takedown rifle. That means you can split the gun into two pieces and carry it in a much smaller pack. That means it's better suited for longer trips where you need to pack the gun away, like camping, hiking, etc., instead of having it out with you all the time. I'm sure you guys have seen this kind of gun before. It's not the first one. But when you combine that with a classic style like this, it seems to be a little bit more cool to me. The price tag for such a thing? The Taylor's TC86 Takedown has an MSRP of $1,839.86. That's not cheap, but if the gun holds up and shoots well, for some, that could be okay. I want to know what you guys think on this one. Are you into this type of gun? Why? Why not? Sound off in the comments, and let's talk about it. Now, we have a bit of an update from last week's episode. We talked about the Block 19, aka the Lego Glock from Culper Precision. By now, you've probably seen it all over the place. Go watch our episode of last week if you want to know what that's all about. We noted that the gun was pulled from their website while we were editing that episode. The story has become more clear, and I figured we'd bring you guys up to speed. The gun spread across the internet like wildfire and apparently caught the attention of not just Glock themselves, who put out a "we don't approve" type cover their rear end corporate BS, but also Lego apparently sent Culper a cease and desist letter. There's no copy of that out there. This is just from another article where they were quoted getting one. This all led to an official announcement from Culper saying, hey, we get it, we're not going to make these. You can see the full statement on their website if you care to read that. Judging by the big mix of comments we got on last week's episode, including everything from "this gun is awesome" to "this is the problem with gun owners" type comments, I can see that it's definitely a controversial thing. I get the "don't make a gun that looks like a toy" argument. I totally understand that. I also get the "it's your personal responsibility, don't let kids have guns," etc. I get both sides of that. And I also see that they're tied together somehow. I'm sure the controversy will live on for a few weeks until the outrage machine moves on to something else, but I figured it was worth telling you guys what was going on. We have even more to cover this week, so Editor Izzy, if you wouldn't mind, fire up the minigun. It's rapid fire time. First up in rapid fire this week, Sig Sauer announced a new version of their M400 series of AR-15s called the M400 Switchblade. Think of this like a higher end pistol in that lineup. It comes with a Magpul BSL brace, full ambi controls, 2-stage trigger, M-lock rail, a partially melted grip, man that looks bad, and an 11.5-inch barrel. And since Sig never releases pricing on their new stuff, I'll make it up. This has an MSRP of 50,000 Legos. That's really weird that they picked that price considering the other controversy, but whatever. Moving on from there, Radical Firearms, a brand I look at as largely entry-level or cheap. However, this new one is perhaps an effort to change that perception. The product is called the Sinter, and it's a 7.62 caliber suppressor. The claim to fame here is that it's a 3D printed suppressor, and the material is titanium. It's also monolithic in design, meaning it's a solid piece, and the can weighs in at 16 ounces overall. For reference, that puts it at about 1.5 ounces lighter than the Daniel Defense Wave, which is also 3D printed. The Sinter is also full auto rated, which for most folks is just a reassurance that the can take some abuse. And the other important rating is the caliber rating. This is pretty straightforward. It's rated up to 300 Win Mag. You could shoot a 22. I don't know why they even bother rating it for that, but 22 all the way up to 300 Win Mag. That seems to be the standard these days. The can also has a honeycomb texture on the outside, which in theory will help the heat dissipation. In reality, you'll have a honeycomb pattern on your hand, and it won't make a difference when you melt your fingerprints to the thing. Trust me, everybody does it. The next thing we need to talk about is the price, which is sort of unremarkable. It's got an MSRP of $8.99, which is pretty bog standard for cans in this caliber space. I'll leave it up to you guys to tell me if the titanium and 3D printing stuff really means enough to you to pick that over others, especially given the price. And rounding us out is a new one from JK Armament. It's called the 105LT Rimfire Modular Solvent Trap Kit. This is not their first solvent trap kit. This is their first rimfire one. Normally, this isn't something I would cover, but I wanted to have a little conversation about these things. For the uneducated about these, a solvent trap is something that is designed to thread onto the muzzle of your firearm and sort of catch the debris and solvent coming out of the bore when you're cleaning it. They also make a great precursor to a self-made suppressor, which is legal if you do it right. The reason I bring this particular kit up is that it's one of the better suited that I've seen for Form 1 suppressors. Seems like a nice kit. Essentially, what you get is a 1.3-inch tube section, I guess, along with 9 different smaller segments and an end cap. You have to add the threaded portion as an option. I suspect this is probably to limit their liability of like, this is a suppressor from ATF. Before now, the solvent traps I've seen have mostly been straight up junk, just crap. Often automotive parts cobbled together by someone looking to make a quick buck. This, however, seems to be a bit more thought out. Now, if you wanted to add the precision drilling setup so you can eventually turn this into a can after you ask the Crown for permission, that brings the MSRP up to $405, which is not cheap for something that isn't, in that case at least, complete. That price is right on par with a ton of rimfire cans out there which are completed from the factory. I guess my question here is, how many of you have considered turning a solvent trap into a suppressor? And this is, of course, assuming that you're doing it legally, because we have to talk about that kind of stuff. I'm really curious how many of you guys are doing this sort of thing. I'm betting that market is small, but I want to hear from you guys. The SELLMARK family of brands offers a huge variety of stuff for the hardcore enthusiast and weekender alike. Whether you need body armor from Bullet Safe, red dot optics from Sightmark for your rifles and pistols, maybe you need a weapon tripod from Kopfjäger, or maybe you're looking for something even more fancy like thermals and night vision from Pulsar. They've got you covered in so many ways. To learn more, check out these brands at retailers everywhere, or hit the links in the description to learn more. In gun industry news this week, we've got a couple things for you guys. Proof Research, most known for their carbon fiber barrels, has been awarded a contract valued at $12.7 million to develop barrels for the Next Generation Weapons Systems program. How freaking awesome would it be to see the guns that are in that program heading around the world with arguably some of the best barrels being made right now? That'd be pretty slick. Also in industry news is something from Wilson Combat. We originally talked about them expanding their facility back at the end of last year, the year that shan't be named. And the first stage of that is sort of now complete. They put out a video on their YouTube channel detailing the whole thing, but since it's 15 minutes long and they go into the details about each individual type of machine, I'll give you the cliff notes. They bought a ton of new machines that are all pretty rad, and now they can make a lot more rifles and parts. They claim 600% more rifles, in fact. Either way, it's cool to see growth taking place in the industry right now, and I, for one, am excited to see more come out of Wilson Combat. And that's it for this week's show, guys. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to see a promo-free version, check us out on floatplane.com. All of our stuff is promo-free over there. And after you click the like button on this video, be sure to hit the secret affiliate link down in the description. That's a big help for us. And of course, don't forget to get subscribed for more gun news every single week. And as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon.
Yep, it's over, but don't worry, you can click on the video up top to watch last week's show, and the one below that is the one that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Check them out and let me know what you think.